1 comma 2. So basically it will only give you the unique values, right? And we have tuples similar to lists, but these are immutable lists. Okay, we'll figure out the differences. Okay, we'll discuss all the differences between lists and tuples. Okay, then we have dictionaries. Dictionaries are basically created to simplify our usage while using lists. Okay, so whatever the use that we have from the lists, to simplify that particular usage, to make sure we don't get confused and all, they created dictionaries. Okay, it's basically simple key value pairs. Okay, so this will be a key, this will be a value. Okay, we have key value pairs, and you can just think it of as a simple English dictionary where you have some word and its meaning, right? Key and value, like that. Okay, so yeah, basically these are the major differences between them. We'll discuss all the things, right, while going forward. Let's just start with list. Okay, so list is basically collection of data. Okay, so list is defined inside 2 square brackets. Okay, so this is called an empty list. Okay, so if you want to check the type, you can always check the type, right? We already saw this keyword, how to use this, right? So whatever the data type that you are giving inside, it will give you the class of that particular data type. Okay, so you can check, this is a list, right? So this is list class. Okay, so this is a list, empty list. So inside that you can have collection of the other data types. Okay, it can be any data type, it can be a number, it can be a string. Okay, it can be a boolean, or it can be another list or set or tuple or anything, right? Basically any data type comes inside this list. Okay, so let's just define some lists. Right, so basically this will be a list. Okay, we have numbers, we have floats, we have strings, we have another lists as well, right? You can also add some booleans. Okay, so this will be a simple list, right? Collection of different types of data types. Okay, we have different types of data present inside one particular list. Okay, yeah, so this is a list, simple, this is also a data type, but the difference between simple data types and these container data types is the storage in the memory. Okay, let's see how the storage differs. Okay, so let's say we have some blocks of memory. Okay, let's consider these are blocks of memory. Okay, so for each block, when you are defining some value, let's say an integer or a string, if I am defining, let's say one as an integer, right, it will go and store in the one particular box. Okay, and its address, there will be an address for each memory block. Okay, that address is mapped to this particular variable. Okay, so whatever the variable that we have will be mapped. Let's say this particular address, let's say this is some hash, it will be some hash code. Okay, so let's say this will be the address of this particular first block. So 1 will be mapped to this particular address 76767. So which means we are storing this number of bytes, these integer bytes, and we are reserving the memory space for that particular bytes. Okay, and we are referencing that particular address. So similarly this happens for all the things. Okay, let's say we have float, it will reference to next block, right? We again define a string, right? It will be mapped to another blocks, like that. Okay, each and every data type, each and every variable, whatever you are defining, will map to one particular memory block. Okay, it might be 2 bytes, it might be 4 bytes, depending on your memory, right? It will allocate. Okay, but when it comes to list, right, so list has multiple items. Okay, let's say we have 3 items. Okay, so what Python does is, not just for the list, for sets or tuples or even for dictionaries, what it does is, it will take each and every element. Okay, it will map it will create some mappings like this, similar mappings like this, okay, and it will store all these mappings inside another list, okay, rather than storing in simple referencing like this. What it will do, it will create an indexing for each element, okay. So the indexing will be like this, okay. So for first element, always indexing starts with 0, okay. So just imagine visually this will be inside the memory block, okay. So for this particular list, the indexing will become like this, okay. So for example, let's say I have some strings in a list, right, okay. So for this, the indexing will also be same, okay. It always starts with 0 and number of elements it goes on increasing, right. So what this basically does, each element is mapped to this particular address of each block, and that particular address is mapped to the indexing of that particular list, okay. So whenever you are finding for this particular element, it has an address mapping, and it will find the index of that particular mapping. It will get the index, and based on index you will retrieve the object, okay. It's more like a loop, right. So let's say you want to find this element, okay, you want to do some operations or something like that. What it will do, it will reference this address, whatever the address we are storing, and that address is also mapped to our index, okay. So that index will give you the same value. Like if I am taking 0, I will get this. If I am taking 1, I will get this. If I am taking 2, I will get this, okay. It will be like vice versa as well. Whenever you are giving an index, it will find the mapped address, okay, and based on the mapped address it will find the element, right. So vice versa, right. So basically the difference between the storage of simple data types and the data structures will be like this, okay. Simple data types will be directly mapped to the address without any indexings and all, okay. Whenever you are using that particular variable, it will directly reference to the address of the memory and it will fetch the data, okay. But while going with lists and other things, okay, there is two mappings, right. So this particular value will also be mapped to an address, and the same address is also mapped to indexing, okay. So this is how lists create the address mappings, and while retrieving the data, it will fetch the required data, proper data, right. So this will be the mapping, okay. So but why do we need to use the lists, right? We could have defined several values, let's say 1 in the first place, 2, then 3, then 4.4. we could have defined like this also, but this will be like huge list, right? Let's say you have 100 elements, you will be defining 100 times, okay. So to avoid and to reduce our code usage, okay, the length of our code, we try to use lists, okay, in most of the places, right. So list have lot of methods, okay. List provides different methods to manipulate things, okay. But before that, as I was saying, Python will create indexing for each and every element inside the list. It starts with 0, right. And so list is not just indexed, it is also ordered, okay. So the ordering that you give will always stay inside the list, okay, it will not change, okay. So you can define here, this will be a sample list, example list, okay. It can be of any other particular data type. List items are always ordered, okay. They will not become unordered, okay. They will not by default gets in different orders, okay. Whatever order you are giving those elements, it will stay in that particular order, right. And they are changeable, okay. So we also call them as mutable, okay. Which means that you can properly change a definitive value inside a list, okay. Let's say I have an element, okay. My first element is 1, right. I can change this to 2, okay. Let's say I have this list, okay, list of 0 equal to 2, okay. So sorry, we are not storing it anywhere, but ideally this value will come in this particular place. Okay, we'll see how it works. Okay, we'll have to define some variables before that. Basically these are mutable, and it will also allow the duplicate values. Okay, you don't have to give the same unique values, you can give duplicate values as well, right? So that is basically how lists are defined, and all the list items are indexed. Okay, so because of the indexing only they are ordered. Okay, since they already defined proper indexing, they won't interchange those index values, right? And first item will always be indexed with 0. Okay, and second item is 1 and go on, right? There is one more small trick inside the Python lists. Okay, so let's say I have, okay, first let me define the variables. Okay, so whenever you have some data types, okay, whenever you are storing these data types in any value, that is called a variable. Okay, so basically in mathematics, whenever we are working on some things, we will use x, y values, right? X equal to something, y equal to something, like that. Similarly, in programming languages, we have these x and y defined values called as variables. Okay, let's say a is my variable, I am giving 1 to that particular value. Okay, so now a is my variable and its value is 1. Okay, so same thing, how it is stored, 1 is stored in a address. Okay, so 1 will be stored in memory and we will have an address, and this address is directly mapped to variables. Okay, so now we have a variable. If I try to execute it, I will get the value that is stored inside that address, right? So this is called a variable. Okay, you can store any values in this. Okay, okay, so it can be booleans also, right? So these are variables. Okay, we'll discuss more about variables, how to reassign them and all. Okay, for now just remember that you can store any data type value into a simple name, right? So these are called variables. Okay, now let's just define a sample list. Okay, let's say we have a list 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have a list with all the basic data types, integers, numbers, strings and booleans, right? So you can just fetch that using a. Okay, so if we to fetch those elements, we have indexing, right? We all the indexing is already created for that particular list. Okay, using that particular indexing, we will fetch the elements. Okay, those values inside those list. Okay, so if I do 0, it will always fetch me the first element. Okay, so like this. Okay, if I do 1, it will give me the second element, 2, 3, like this. Okay, so a of 3 is my 1, right? Like this it will come. Okay, let's say you want to get the last element. Okay, so for that you need to know the length of this particular thing. Okay, so that you can go to the last element, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, this element is my 9th element. So to retrieve that particular element, I will have to give 8, right? So index of a of 8 will give me this particular value. So see, whenever you want to fetch data from the last, if you don't know the length, how will you fetch? Okay, if you don't know the length, you don't know this particular value. Okay, so to simplify this kind of things, what they developed is they developed the negative indexing. Okay, so how negative indexing works? Okay, so here this is indexed from 0 to 1 comma 2, right? Similarly, it will also index. Okay, it will also index with -1, -2. Okay, and this will be -3, right? So it starts from the last element will always be -1 and -2, -3 and so on. Okay, how many elements we have, that many times it will repeat. Okay, so basically this indexing and this indexing is exactly same, it's just the referencing changes, right? So the same address will be referenced to this particular index as well as this particular index, right? So we are not wasting any memory, we are just referencing the address values. Okay. So now the same element which we are fetching using positive indexing can also be fetched using a of minus 1. Okay, we will get the same value. Okay. So we have positive indexing as well as negative indexing to fetch the elements. Okay. So this is how you define the list and this is how you fetch the elements, right. So these are like simple elements. I am fetching only one particular elements, right. So I am fetching first element, I am fetching second element like this. Okay. Let's say suppose I want to fetch multiple elements in a list. Okay. So I have a list, I want to get first 3 elements. Okay. And that will also give me in a list. Okay. To do that, what I have to do, I will have to use the slicing method. Okay. There is something called slicing method, okay, where we use colon. Okay. Okay, just remember we will have to use a colon in between. Okay. If I am not giving any numbers inside this, okay, if I am just giving colon, it will give me the whole list. Okay. So since I am not giving any numbers before and after colon, I am just giving a colon inside the square braces. You can see I am getting the all elements, right. I am getting all the elements. Okay. Now if I want to fetch only first 2 elements, okay, what I will do, I will give it from 0 and I will have to give 0, 1, 2, right. So if I want to fetch 2 elements, I will have to give the index of the next element. Okay. So this will be 0, this will be 1, this will be 2. Okay. I will have to give it to 2. Okay. So you will fetch first 2 elements. Okay. The same thing you can also do without giving the 0 as well. Okay. So by default it will be 0 before the colon. Okay. It will be same, right. And let's say you want to fetch from second element to this, right. So you can do like this. This will be my second element, right. So 0, 1, 2. No, this will be 0, 1, 2. So whenever you are starting with some elements, you will have to give that particular index. Okay. So this will be index 2 colon and your end index. Okay. This will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But since you want till 7 elements, you will have to give the index of the next element, right, which will be 8. Okay. So you will get all the elements in between these, right. The similar way you can also give. So this 8 represents the negative indexing of minus 1, right. So the same value you can also give like this. Okay. 2 to minus 1 will also give you the same result. Got it. So you can either use positive indexing or negative indexing, but the index values has to be same, right. You should be representing the same element. Okay. Now so this is in between elements also. Okay. Now if I want to fetch from this particular element to all elements, right, what I will be doing, I will be using 9, right, because this will be the this indexing will be 8 and after this there is no indexing value. So I will be using 9, right. So this is index of 8. Okay. But so since I need to get this also, I need to give the index of the next element. Okay. Even though next element is not there, but assume that if the element is there, then it will be index of 9, right. So we will use 2 to 9, so which will fetch me all the elements. Okay. So to avoid confusion, so sometimes we feel the confusion, right, only there are 8 elements, how can I give 9. Okay. So to avoid the confusion, we can just avoid giving that particular value also. Okay. You can just give the colon, it will by default take till all the elements. Okay. So you can give the same value, right. So just a revision. Okay. So if you are not giving any elements, by default it will take the first indexing and the last indexing. Okay. So that it will give you all the values in between, right. So you will get all the values. Okay. So if you want to fetch from second element through all, you will get all like this. Okay. If you want to fetch from starting to second element, you can use like this. Okay. The same thing, if you want to fetch from second element to like last but one element, you will be using indexing like this. Okay. Or negative indexing. Okay, the same way you can also use like this. Okay, the negative indexing also works like this. Okay, so if you are counting from backwards, this will be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. Okay, you want till starting from this element till this element, right? So this also gives you the same output. Okay, depends upon your usage. You can use either positive indexing or negative indexing for slicing the lists. Okay, but always remember, whenever you are using a slicing method, it will always gives you another list as an output. Okay, it will not give you elements as an output. Okay, even though if that is a simple one element. Okay, so if I am giving from this particular point, yeah, it will always give you as a list. Even though if it is simple one element, it will give you as a list. Okay, just remember that, right? So if you want to fetch elements, then you can use simple indexing, which will output you the element. Okay, not the list. Here it will give you the list. Okay, so this is basic definition of a list, right? How to define a list and how to retrieve the elements from the list. Okay, now let's jump ahead and see how many methods that we have inside this particular class. Okay, any doubts till this point? Okay, yeah, cool. So yeah, it will also allows the duplicate values, so you can use multiple values in the same way, like how we used 1 and 3 like this, right? So it will also allow the duplicate values. Okay, now lists are changeable, so we can change any elements. Okay, let me show you an example. Now we have A. Okay, so we have number of elements in that. Let's say I want to change this particular element. Okay, so what I'll do, this is my fetching. Okay, so to fetch that particular element, I'll use this. Using the same way, you can assign the values as well. Okay, so using the same indexing method, okay, you can use to assign the values as well. Okay, now A of 0 was 1. If I do this, A of 0 will be 2. Okay, you can check A, the values are changed. Okay, so that's why we call them as mutable things. Okay, so basically you can change the values, you can add new values, you can delete the values also. Okay, this is how we change the values. We assign different values to the proper index values. Okay, so initially our A of 0 was 1. I just assigned 2 to the same value. Okay, it will just override this particular one and it will change the value, right? So this is how we change the values. But let's see how to add the values, how to remove the values, and how to insert in between, right? We'll see all the different methods that we have. Okay, so as I said, this particular list is a list class. Okay, so each class has their own set of methods. Okay, so let me try to open this if possible. Okay, so you can see this is a list class. Okay, these are built-in things. Okay, you cannot manipulate these things. If you even change one single line in these files, your Python will crash. Okay, you should never change any of these things, but just remember that you can go and see what's exactly happening in these things, right? So this will be a list class. Okay, it is also inheriting some other classes. Okay, mutable sequence class, generic classes and all. Okay, so whenever you define some list, whenever you define something like this, A equal to something like this, okay, this will become an object of this class. Okay, we will be discussing deeper into all the classes of what are objects and all, but just remember that each and everything that you define is an object which represents to one particular class in Python. Okay, whatever you are defining, it may be a list, it may be set, everything. Okay, it represents to one particular class. Okay, so this is our list class, and if you can go in the list class, we have lot of methods. Okay, these are all called methods. Okay, so all these are methods. Okay, so inside this method you can see we have, so let's say whenever you have a method name with double underscore in front of the name and after the name, those are the things which are system inbuilt. You should not change them. Okay, you cannot even, most probably you cannot even access them. Okay, those are like private methods which can only accessible for that particular class, okay, class instance, right? But whatever the methods names which are simple, you can use all these methods, okay. So we have append, we have extend, pop, index, count, insert, remove, reverse, even sort, okay. Even sort is also there, right? So we will be discussing all these methods now. We will just go through each method and what each method does for the lists, right? Okay, and we also have clear and copy, okay. So you can see that they are also checking for the versions. If Python is greater than 3, sort will work like this, okay, else it will work like this, okay. If Python version is greater than 3, then only we have clear and copy. For lesser versions like 2 or 2 point somethings, we don't have these two methods, right? So basically when they are upgrading things, they will try to use this kind of syntaxes, okay. So if they want to introduce new things in the version 4, Python version 4, they'll simply add, if version is greater than 4, they'll add some other methods, okay. Just remember, everything you are using were also been written in Python. You can go there and check what it exactly doing, okay. So we have all these methods, okay. So they are actually inheriting from these classes. You can go into those classes as well, okay. They are taking from collections, okay, mutable sequences. So it's gonna take some time for me to go there and check, but basically what they are doing, they are importing things and they are basically doing all these things, okay. The code is already there, but you can go there and check number of methods that are present for this particular class, okay. Now we have this class object which is RA, okay. So you can use all these methods, okay. So you have append, okay. In IPython, whenever you type that particular object, type dot, okay. After that just type tab, you will get all the methods defined for that particular class, okay. Just type tab, you will get append, clear, copy, count, extend, index, okay, insert, pop, remove, reverse, sort, okay, fine. So you can just also check different methods and their parameters, okay. Now we will be discussing each and every element and its usage, okay, each and every method and its usage, okay. So I have also listed them out in the PPT. You can go through them, okay. I have given the functionality of that, okay. Forget about this method, we will discuss this method later, okay, while discussing tuples and sets, right. We will start with this particular point, okay. So you can just see append will always add a new element, okay. So I have my A, I just have to call this append method. I will have to give an element which I want to add, okay. Let's say I want to give, this is new, right. So you can check A, you can see new element is added, okay. So append, whenever you are using append, it will always add the elements in the end, okay, end of the list, okay. It will not insert the values in front of any place, okay, in any of these indexes, okay. Whenever you are using append, it will only add the elements in the last place, okay. So you can use new one like this, you can check, it will always add the elements in the end, right. So append is used to add the new elements, okay. Now we have extend, okay. This is another method. Let's say we have another list, okay, with some boolean values, okay. I want to add these three elements, okay. I want to add these three elements inside my A, okay, or vice versa, okay, whatever you want to feel, right. So let's say I want to add this list elements into another list, then I will use extend, okay. Because if I'm using append, right, if I'm using append, if I'm giving B, so B is basically this list, okay. If I'm using append, this whole list will add as a one element, okay. If you can see that, you can see the whole list is added as one single element, okay. But instead of doing that, if we want to have each and every element in the list to add as different elements, right. So we have 3 elements in B. I want to add these 3 elements individually, right? Then we can use extend, right? The same syntax. Okay, what I am doing, I am basically extending my A and adding the elements from B. Okay, so if you can do this, you can check. This was my earlier list. Now I added true, false, and true. Okay, these 3 elements added individually, right? Okay, so let me just remove this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, A dot pop. It's not on a list. Okay, so I just deleted that, forget about this. Okay, so that we'll get the simple list, right? So now you can see after extending, my 3 elements have been added individually, right? So this is how we use extend, okay, to add elements of one list into another list. Okay, so that is extend. Okay, now we had a drawback in the using append, right? Append will always add the new elements in the last. Okay, so for that particular drawback, they have defined another method. Okay, to add elements in any desired index, we use insert. Okay, so insert is basically, let's say we have these many elements. Okay, I want to add one more element, right? So let's say I want to add another element in between 2 and 3. Okay, let's say I want to add some 2.5. Okay, so this will be third index, 0, 1, 2, index 2. Okay, my new element index will be 2, right? So I want to add in between these two, right? So this is index 0, 1, this is currently this is 2, but I want to add my index in index 2, right? My value in index 2. Okay, now what I'll do insert. Okay, inside that you will have to give the element, okay, and index, right? Sorry, vice versa. First you will have to give the index, then you will have to give the element, right? So while using the insert, you will have to give the element index where you will have to add that, and you are giving the value. Okay, now we can see this 2.5 has been added in between 2 and 3. Okay, so basically you can insert any number of values. Let's say in 4, index 4, I want to add some element, let's say index 4. Okay, so you can check. So index 4 has been added at the 4th index, right? Will be 5th element. Index 4 means 5th element, right? Yeah, so like this you can add different elements using insert. Okay, now we have added multiple values. We have used append method to add values. We have used extend method to extend other list elements, right? We also used insert, right, to insert any values into the proper indexing values. Okay, now we want to like remove some values. Okay, we have 2 different methods for that particular purpose. Okay, we have remove, we have pop. Okay, what both these things differ. Okay, remove, you will have to give the value which you have to remove. Okay, let's say I want to remove my string like this. Okay, I want to remove my A from my list of A. Okay, what I'll have to give, I'll have to give that particular value. Okay, it will search for the list, and wherever it finds, it will just remove that. Okay, you can see there will not be any output. Okay, there is no any output, it will just remove it from A. Okay, if you can go and see A, you can see that A is removed, right? Yeah, I'll tell you that. Okay, so here we have removed A from this list. Okay, now let's say I have 3, right? Okay, 3 2 times, or let's just take 2 only. Okay, 2 we have 3 times. Okay, or we have true, which is also like 3 times. Okay, let's say I want to remove my true, right? Okay, you can see there will not be any output. Okay, if you go and check the values, only one particular element has to get removed. Okay, has anything got removed? No. Okay, you can do the same thing with elements. Okay, now if you check A, can you see the elements going out? No, it's gone out. Yes. So whenever you are giving a proper element, it will search for the first one where it is coming in. Okay, so it will just remove that, it will keep all the things. Okay, but you cannot remove the boolean values. Okay, because it does not know, Python cannot interpret if you are just giving true value or if you want to remove the true value. What does true means? True means true, right? It's just yes, you go on remove, but it does not interpret that you have to remove something or if you are just giving true value. Okay, so that's why remove method will not work for the boolean values. Okay, it will only work for other data types. Okay, so you cannot remove trues or false values like that. Okay, you can only remove any integers or floats or string values. Okay, so that is the usage of remove. Okay, you can remove the elements from your list. Okay, but see here I am not getting any output also. Okay, I am just removing things. Okay, and I am also not having to not able to remove some this particular boolean values. Okay, so for these kind of drawbacks we have another method called pop. Okay, so for pop basically we have to give the index. Okay, why? Because if I try to give the elements, remove method was not able to delete them, right? So that's why for pop only takes the index values. Okay, let's say if I want to remove this particular true boolean value, I'll just give the index and it will just remove it. Okay, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, right? So if I give index 7, you can see it is removed. Okay, and as well as removing these things, it will also provide me the output. Okay, so remove was not providing me any output, but pop is providing me the output. Okay, now if you can go and check A, that particular boolean value is also removed. Okay, so this is the difference between these two methods. Okay, remove basically takes the element value, pop will take the index value. Okay, always remember this. And remove cannot remove the boolean values, but since we are using index values in pop, you can remove any data type, right? We are just removing that particular index from the list, right? So this is your list operations using remove and pop. Okay, now this is my final list. Okay, now so we added some elements using these three methods and we removed these elements as well. Okay, okay, we'll come to clear in a bit. Okay, now we have index. Okay, it will give you the index of your elements. Let's say I know I have few elements in my list, but I want to find the index of those. Okay, you can see it will be just a dot index of, you can give any element, let's say 2. Okay, so 2 is present 2 times, but it will always give me the first index, right? So right, similarly you can use for this. Okay, it will give me the index of this particular value. Okay, if you want to use true, it will give me the index of this. Okay, so yeah, index is basically to get the value, index value of any element, right? So you will have to remember all these methods. These methods will be very helpful while doing scripting things, right? While creating some actual programming, all these methods will have more advantages. Okay, now that is the index. Okay, now we have count. Okay, so count is not to count number of elements present in the list, it is to count which item present in number of times. Okay, so let's say I want to find number of times 2 got repeated. Okay, now what I can do, I can just do like this, count of 2. You can see 2 is present 3 times in the list. Okay, so it will be like when I give 3, it will be only 1 time. Okay, I can give yes, I can give strings, I can also give booleans, right? So yeah, you can give any number of any data type values, and you can get a number of times that particular element has been repeated. Okay, so this count is basically to count number of times each element got repeated. Okay, that particular element. Okay, that is to count. And we have few other things. Okay, let's discuss one by one. Okay, so there is this reverse method. Okay, so I will discuss about sort. Sort will not work for this particular list. Okay, I will discuss about sort. We'll discuss reverse. Okay, reverse is nothing but it will just reverse the elements. Okay, it will just we already have the positive indexing and negative indexing, right? It will just reverse things. Okay, it will make positive indexing for the it will just swap the indexings so that last elements will come first elements will go to the last, right? It will just simply reverses the whole list. Okay, so here you can see while using this reverse method the whole list itself is changing. Okay, my A was like this, now my A got changed. Okay, remember that as well. Okay, now we have copy, okay, and clear and sort. Okay, copy, let's discuss copy first. Okay, now let's say I want to copy these elements. Okay, let me take B equal to A. Okay, this is also copying, right? So B also have B and A. Okay, but whenever we are doing things like this, whenever we are assigning things like this particular list is stored only once in the system. Okay, list is always stored only once. Okay, but it is referenced to two different variables. It is mapped to two different values. Okay, so for A also this the same list is referenced, and for B also the same list is different referenced, right? It is mapped. Now let me add another element in the A. Okay, I am just adding extra. Okay, you can check A, extra has been added. Okay, now if you can check B, extra has been added into B also, right? But we don't want that, we only want extra has to add in the A. Okay, our B has to be separate from A, right? So in those cases you should not use simple assignment operator. Okay, what you will have to use, you will have to use B equal to A dot copy. Okay, now A is this, B is this. Okay, now if I add anything in A, okay, new extra. Okay, now you can check new extra has been added in A, but it's not been added in B. Okay, so for this is called deep copy. Okay, we are copying all the elements and keeping it separate. Okay, we are not linking between A and B. Okay, if you do simple assignment operator, let's say simple B equal to A, then this is linking both the things. Okay, so to avoid that we will use A dot copy. Okay, so that it will create completely separate list. Okay, it will store this list in separate memory space and it will assign to B. Okay, now you can perform different operations on both the lists, right? So now we have A, now we have B. Okay, now we will discuss about the clear. Okay, clear is nothing but it will remove all the elements. Okay, so now we have B. If I just do B dot clear, it will just clear all the elements, it will make it empty. So you will just have to be careful while using this clear, right? In program, but if you are using this clear accidentally also, you will just lose all the data. Okay, you will have to be very careful, but this will also has a lot of advantages while programming. Sometimes you create a list, you will append all the values. Once you do some operations, rather than defining new list, you will just clear all the elements from that list and you will reuse the same list. Okay, so yeah, for that, for memory space consuming, okay, to avoid excess memory, we will try to use this particular function, right? So now we have defined all these different methods except sort, right? So sort simply works how we sort things in many applications like Flipkart or some things, right? It will sort elements based on ascending or descending order. Okay, But if sort has to work properly, you will have to define a list with the same data type of elements. Okay, so your list has to be either integers. Okay, let me give random values so that we can test. Okay, or you can give alphabets. Okay, okay, sort only works for the homogeneous data type elements. Okay, it will not work for mixed elements, because Python doesn't know how to keep them in order for integers as well as strings, right? String values are different and integer values are completely different. So that's why whenever you are using sort, try to keep all your elements homogeneous. Okay, homogeneous, nothing but simple data type. Okay, only one single data type. Now you can use sort, b dot sort. Okay, it will sort it in the ascending order first. Okay, if you want to reverse the order, just give reverse equal to true. Okay, so here we are not giving anything inside the function. Okay, we are just calling b dot sort. It will sort the elements in ascending order. Okay, if you want to use the descending order, you can give b dot sort reverse equal to true. Okay, then if you can check, it is in descending order. Okay, the same way you can work for the C as well. Okay, okay, this was already in ascending order, reverse equal to true. You can check C, it is in descending order now. Okay, so if you are having all the strings only, then it will use alphabetical sorting. If you have all the integers, it will use numerical sorting, right? So yeah, whenever you want to use the sort, always try to keep the elements homogeneous, then only the sorting works properly. Okay, so yes, all these methods are very much useful. Okay, so please practice all these methods multiple times. Okay, I have also created an exercise in the same folder. Okay, in the docs I have created container type exercises. Okay, you can open that. Okay, or for all these things, just create some sample list. Okay, try to perform all the operations on that. Okay, it would be better to practice multiple times. Okay, you don't have to follow only this type of lists and only have to follow these methods. Okay, you can do other things as well. Okay, you can just try out all the different methods what they are doing. Okay, get familiar with all the list operations. Okay, because list operations, we will be using list operations in lot of places. Okay, this will be used in simple programming also, right? So please practice all these methods. Okay, get familiar with all these methods, what each method is doing. Okay, I hope you don't have any doubts for these. Okay, if you have any doubts till now, please ask now itself. Okay, I can re-explain all the methods again. Okay, if you have any doubts, we'll discuss this list method again later while we are discussing about tuples and sets. Okay, for now don't worry about this. Just remember that how to define a list, okay, how to retrieve the list, okay, list elements, and how to apply these methods on the list elements. Okay, so after that we only have slicing, which we already discussed. Okay, how to use the slicing and all. Okay, basic slicing. There are some functions which we can use. Okay, I'll discuss these things also while I'm discussing, after discussing tuples and sets. Okay, these are like common methods, not just for list. Okay, these methods will work for all the other data structures as well. Okay, okay, so there is one thing left, let me discuss that as well. Okay, now so we saw reverse method, right? We saw reverse method, how things reverse things, right? Let's say I have my A. Okay, if I want to reverse this, I'll just use reverse, right? So you can see it got reversed. Okay, but sometimes what happens is, I don't want to reverse the original array, I want to reverse it and I want to store it in different things, right? Now what I'll do, I'll have this slicing. Okay, single colon is slicing, If I use double colon and if I use -1, this syntax will reverse the whole list. Okay, you can check that. Okay, so you can see this and this, the whole list got reversed, but it will not change the original one. Okay, just wait, let me create a new one, A, B, C. Okay, now I have my A. Okay, if I do A dot reverse, you can check A, it got reversed. Okay, but let's say I don't want to reverse this, I want to keep this as it is, and I want to reverse it to back, and I want to store that in another list. Okay, another value. Okay, A of, what I'll do, I'll just give this syntax, double colon -1. Okay, now you can see B will be this original one, now A will not be changed. Okay, so using this particular syntax you can reverse without changing the original array, right? So yeah, that was the last thing that we missed. Okay, these things we will discuss, these are the common functions. Okay, and we'll also discuss the list method in next class. Okay, but for today's class, please go through all these things, open IPython, practice how to create different lists, try to create multiple types of lists. Okay, homogeneous, heterogeneous, like try to create lists of lists. Okay, integrate another list into that particular list. Okay, try to use all these values. Okay, now try all these different methods, perform all these operations on lists. Okay, get familiar with each method, what exactly that method is doing and all, right? Yeah, so that way you will also get practice. Try to practice every day, because by the last of our course you might forget all these things. Okay, so that's why try to practice these things every day. Okay, just for a 1 hour or so that you will get like memorize these things, right? So that you won't forget all these things again. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is it for today's class. We'll just discuss this list method and all these common functions in tomorrow's class while discussing tuples and sets. Okay, so tomorrow we'll cover sets and tuples, as well as dictionaries also. Okay, there are no methods in these things to discuss, so I think we can cover all these 3 topics tomorrow, right? So but please do practice all these things. Okay, yeah, cool. Thank you. So if you have any doubts in the installations or in these parts, you can ask me now.
Any list into a list, how the indexing range will be?
Sorry?
If you are adding a list into a list,
Yes.
the index range.
Index will be same. Index will not change. Okay, let me show you that as well. Okay, so Manideep is asking that, let's say I have elements and I have a list of elements inside this list. Okay, so what will be the index of this particular value, right? So is that your question, Manideep? Yes. So the indexing will be simple, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it will be A of 3. Okay, you will get. So see, this is also another list, right? So this will also have another indexing like 0, 1, 2. Okay, see, this is a list 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this has an indexing of 3. Okay, so by giving A of 3, we'll get this particular list. Okay, and now A of 3 is also another list, right? So this will also have another indexing for that particular list like 0, 1, 2. It will be there, right? So this is also another list and it will also have indexing, right? So to get this particular element, what we will do, you can do, so this is the list and after that you can give the indexing, right? So basically nothing new here. Okay, so if you store like B equal to A of 3, okay, now B is my list. Okay, how you will be doing the slicing operations, retrieving the data, you will be doing like this, right? Rather than doing it in 2 steps, we can do it in the simple step, right? Is that answers your question, Mandeep? So this will be the simple indexing only. Okay. Any other doubts? I hope you all installed Python and IPython in your systems and they are up and running, right?